Wow. Okay. So, hello. Um, we are going to present the best topic in the subject, which is assimilation. And well, I hope you are prepared and enjoy it. So, let's first start with what is assimilation? Well, when we're speaking in any languages, there are some times when, in order to pronounce some sounds, it involves a very drastic change from from your mouth position to another position. So, in order to make this pronunciation more simple, we have assimilation, which is when the sound change to adjust itself to its surroundings. So basically, a speech sound will become more similar or more identical to a neighboring sound. We have an example, the phrase, one boat. As you can see, the N sound in one will become an M, which is a bilabial sound, an M sound, when we're pronouncing it fast. So we're gonna say one boat instead of one boat. The same happens in Spanish, and as I said, in many languages, with un barco, which is pronounced un barco. So it is important to keep in mind that this assimilation is mostly seen in rapid and casual speech. So in slower speech, is not very present or not very noticeable. Okay, so now to understand better what we're going to talk about next, let's first have clear that these terms, which is a final consonant, you see in this diagram, which there's a line, and then we have a CF. That's the last sound of the first word. And then the CI, which comes next, is the first sound of the word that's coming next. So that's single final consonant and single initial consonant. That's important to understand. Now that we have seen that, we can explain what is regressive assimilation. And here, the phoneme that comes first, which is the final consonant, would be affected by the one that comes after the initial consonant. So here, CF changes to become like CI. We have these examples, which are good morning, in which the D sound will become a B before the bilabial M sound. So we're going to say good morning instead of good morning. Same happens with 1 week. The N sound will become an M sound. 1 week. In white coat, the T sound will become a K, white coat. And with handbag, the ND sound will become an M, handbag. So we have also this, which here says, I'm not angry. When you're like, it doesn't bother me, I'm not angry, the T sound in not will become more like a R sound, not angry. This, as I said, to make the pronunciation more easier. Then we have progressive assimilation, which here the second phoneme, the initial consonant, would change to become similar to the first phoneme, which is the final consonant. And here we have also many examples. These were taken from an article, which is an analysis of Eminem's Rap God song, which is a very famous song. And let's take, for example, this where it says, because I know the way to get them motivated. Here, get them, the T sound in get will change No, the TH sound in them will change to become more like a T of get. So we're going to say get them instead of get them. Okay, so in what ways can a consonant change? In order to see this, let's remember very quickly what is place of articulation, which is the places where the constrictions and obstructions of the air occur, where the air comes from. The manner of articulation, the way this airstream is affected as it is flowing from the lungs to the nose and the mouth. And voicing, a consonant will be voiced when it produces a vibration in the larynx muscles. So basically we have voiceless consonants and voiced consonants. Okay, so assimilation of place. This is only noticeable in this regressive assimilation, especially alveolar consonants is what we're going to be analyzing, especially the t sound. Let's take into account the pronunciation of the word that. When you're pronouncing the word that alone, you are pronouncing a t sound at the end. So let's focus on this t sound. Okay, the t will become a p sound before a bilabial consonant. For example, instead of saying that person, we will say that person. Then this T becomes dental plosive before a dental consonant. For example, that thing, or get those. You see it changes, like it's not T, but like slightly different kind of T. And we have that the T becomes K before a velar consonant, as in bright color or quite good, where that T sound is replaced like a K. Okay, now, assimilation of manner. It also has a tendency for regressive assimilation. And it helps us to change to an easier consonant, which makes less of structure to the airflow. That's like the point, that it is easier to pronounce. A final plosive, for example, can become a fricative or a nasal. Take into account these examples. That side, where the T at the end of that, the word that, will become like an S. That side, that side, that side. Also, good night, because not only is about that T, but we can also see in other consonants, as in good night, where the D in good will become an N, as in good night. When it's night and you're telling your mom, "Oh, mom, I'm going to sleep. Good night." Yes, you can see that. Okay, so we can also see some cases of progressive assimilation of manner, when a word initial follows a plosive or a nasal at the end of a preceding word. Here, the initial consonant will become identical in manner to the final consonant, but with a dental place of articulation. It will be slightly different, like it will be identical to the CI, but slightly changed. For example, in that TH sound will become like an N in the trees. Get them. Here also the TH sound will become like a T with a dental place. Like, oh no, there's the robbers, go get them. And read these. The TH will become more like a the sound. Read this. And well, Finally, we have simulation of voice, which I would say is my favorite. I don't know what, but okay. Here it has a tendency for aggressive assimilation. And one thing to know is that if the final consonant is a voiced consonant or a lennis, and the CI is voiceless, so if the first one is voiced and the second one is voiceless, then the first one will become voiceless. For example, in the phrase, I have to. When you pronounce it slowly, you can say, I have to. But when we're talking in a speed, and a rapid speech, this V in have will change to a voiceless F. So it will be, I have to. I really don't want to do my homework, but I have to. You see, there's no voiced V consonant anymore, but a voiceless F. And well, now we're going to see some examples.
Okay, so let's move on to some examples that we found. Well, an assimilation is partial if the assimilated sound retains at least one of its original phonetic features and adopts only some of the phonetic features of another sound. It's total assimilation if the assimilated sound adopts all the phonetic features of another sound and becomes identical to it. Okay, and in this example, in this case, the assimilation has been partial. The sound has fallen under the influence of the following B and has adopted its bilability, becoming the sound. The assimilation is total if the example were 10 mice, where the sound is now identical with the which influence it. Okay, and about the alveolar nasal assimilation, the alveolar nasal assimilated to the bilabial by changing the alveolar to a bilabial The D of the spelling is not present for most speakers, and it can occur in carefully pronunciation. And the next, please. Okay. Articulation features might be helped over from a preceding segment so that the articulation lag in their movements about the direction of influence. In elision and assimilation, when the D is elided, it leaves in a position for place assimilation. So we frequently hear handbag. In this final example, we see again that a connected speech process have the potential to influence meaning. Is handbag, a rendition of handbag with deletion, or is it simply handbag like the meat? In real life, the context and knowledge of the speaker's habitual pattern and preference will help you to decide, and you will probably opt for the most likely meaning. And so move on to the dissimilation. Okay, this is the process by which a speech sound becomes different from or less like a neighboring sound, as pilgrim, pilgrim, from Latin peregrinos, Purple, purple, from Old English, purple, or it disappears entirely because of a like sounds in another syllable. Okay, and well, I think that that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.